Joaquina Kalukango is having a major moment. She landed one of 12 record-breaking Tony nominations for Jeremy O. Harris's buzzed about Slave Play. She can be seen in HBO's Lovecraft Country, and now she's featured on the big screen in the new film One Night in Miami. Watch as she discusses what excites her most about the conversation sparked by Slave Play, what it's like sharing a Tony category with her hero, Audra McDonald, and more on this week's Show People. Hi, Joaquina. So good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm so good. Thank you for having me, Paul. I'm really good.
Of course.
You know, this year's Tony Awards are a little strange. We're all still kind of waiting to see how it will all go down. But I have to tell you, when they read the list of nominees, I was 1,000% most excited to see your name on there. It's one of my favorite performances of last season. So it's so good to see you today as a Tony nominee.
Thank you.
How does it feel to find out this great news during a sort of unusual year?
Right. I mean, there was just so much loss, I think, in this year, in terms of lives and jobs. And so it was a weird place to be, but I'm so grateful to have been part of Slave Play. I mean, these actors, the writer, the director, our whole cast and crew, from the house, our staff, our bartenders, our ushers. It was such a great environment that we're in, and we were fully supported by everybody. So to be honored in this way with the 12 Tony nominations is extremely beautiful, and I'm so proud of everyone. But like you said, I know I had friends who were supposed to open the night that everything shut down. So I think about them and hold them in my heart too. But this is something I've dreamed of since I was a kid. So it's that hard balance of being like, yay, to celebrate, this momentous moment. Yeah.
You know, traditionally when you're a Tony nominee, you are going to nonstop luncheons and parties, and you have like a rack of fancy outfits, and you're going from outfit to outfit. This year's different, but you do have an outfit on today, so I appreciate that.
I love the fact that you can have a party upstairs and be like 5 p.m. and in bed and some sweats on the bottom. It's great.
You know, for Black History Month on Broadway.com, we asked some of our favorite performers to pick another performer that was an inspiration to them. And you actually chose Audra McDonald. And now you're in a Tony Award category with Audra McDonald. So how does that feel?
Insane. It feels, I don't even have the words for it. I really don't. It's insane. And exciting. And she's such a nice person. And I remember when she came to the show, she just had such a generous heart and spirit. And she came with her husband. God bless them for coming and sitting and Slave Play. And she was like, we're going to have an interesting ride home. It's just, that type of support from such a legend is something I think that every kid needs coming into this business. You know what I mean? The opportunity to meet your legends, and when they are such generous, beautiful spirits, nothing beats that feeling.
Some other acting icons, Mary Louise Parker, Laura Linney, you're in good company in that leading actress in a play category.
What a freaking category.
You know, the first time I interviewed you, you were playing Nettie in The Color Purple. And at that point, you said that if Cynthia Erivo didn't win a Tony Award, you were going to pull a Kanye. And of course, she did end up winning a Tony Award. But I don't know, this year, I love those other women. But if you don't win, I might have to pull a Kanye. But if it's a virtual ceremony, how do I do that? How do you pull a Kanye?
I don't know. I just say, everybody just go hit up Twitter. I really don't know how to do that.
Well, you know, you've won awards before. You got a Theater World Award for Slave Play and an Outer Critics Circle honor. And you've had a great career. You know, it's been a real build-up to get to a big, juicy role like Kanisha in Slave Play. And, you know, you ended Slave Play with this mammoth monologue that I actually just reread. And it blew my mind reading it on the page. It was so fantastic to watch you dig into it. But it also was A lot. You know, you told Broadway.com that after Slave Play, you were going to need a vacation, just like go to some island and like process everything that had happened. Did that vacation ever happen for you?
So no, the vacation did not happen. I went and shot. Well, I guess you could say it kind of did. I went and shot one night in Miami.
And Leslie Odom Jr. is also in that.
Incredible film that I hope everyone gets to see.
And don't you get to play an icon in that movie?
I got to play Betty Shabazz. Yep, it's
Amazing.
insane. Regina King directing. I mean, so I was in New Orleans shooting that in February before the shutdown happened. But I had plans to go for spring break. I wanted to go to Hawaii, and then everything happened. So,
well, nope. I'm so sorry. You know, when I reread the play, and especially your monologue, it's very powerful. And Jeremy O. Harris, I mean, it's poetry. But you refer to Paul Nolan's character. It's all about an interracial couple. And you refer to his character as a virus. And it was so crazy to read that now after we've all been dealing with a virus this whole past year. It's crazy how things take on a different meaning after the fact.
Oh, I totally blame Jeremy.
For the virus.
I sure did. I said, you are the one. You ushered it in.
Well, I'll tell you what he did usher in, some really helpful conversations. You know, after the death of George Floyd and, you know, when Broadway started looking at itself and all of these organizations have started and people have really been looking at racial justice and inequality. And the Broadway community has gotten into that conversation. And I've just been thinking, wow, a lot of this was starting to happen at the Golden Theater, I feel like, with the run of Slave Play. Do you feel that way?
I mean, you can't help but think about all these things as a Black person, period, since you're born, you know what I mean? And so I think when we were doing Slave Play, there still was a lot of pushback. I think people believe that we lived in a post-racial society. They were like, oh, we voted for Obama. You know what I mean? Like, this is where everybody's good. And essentially, it took a pandemic where no one had to move, where you were bombarded with images and videos of Black bodies being murdered, for people to say, wait a minute, something is wrong. It took Amy Cooper actively using herself as a weapon to go against this Black man, and saying that, where everyone now started to say, oh, Slave Play did kind of start, you know what I mean, these conversations. But yeah, I don't think people were prepared for it when we did it on Broadway. It was very interesting. And I think now it's like Jeremy said, it's on people's reading list now, amazingly.
You have worked with some of the best Black playwrights and directors and co-stars through your career. And I know right now you're working with Kenny Leon on the Mahalia Jackson movie for Lifetime. And so I'm curious about your perspective as a leading Black artist in our community now. What do you hope to see as we move forward?
I think what I'd like to see more of, it's not enough to just have diversity in the cast and necessarily the directorial team. It's important to have it in lighting designers and costume designers, you know, and people in marketing to figure out how to tell these stories. That's something it was an issue for me earlier in my career, specifically during like Antony and Cleopatra. It was a hard world to navigate, knowing that I was telling this story and I didn't have a full creative supportive team that knew how to tell this story in the way that it was being told. And so working with Slave Play, it was completely different. You know what I mean? We had just there were women, there were men, every races were in that room and a part of the creative process. And I just think we need to lend ourselves more to that experience. Yeah. And I'm just interested in seeing more daring narratives being told. I'm not interested in seeing a remake of another movie turned into a musical. I want new musicals. I want an opportunity. Like Strange Loop was amazing. And I'm just like, why are we not doing more of that? Why can't commercial theater and Broadway be filled with more daring, risky narratives? If theater is supposed to be a change agent where we can push and explore those narratives, then we got to do it. And the biggest way to do that is on Broadway, you know? So I hope more off-Broadway houses get more support as well, because they're really pushing the work in that community. So I hope that there's more funding involved for them, and just more opportunities for artists to really explore the creative juices. Now is the time, I think, for people to be more creative, to take more risk. Now more than ever, what do we have to lose, right? At this point, what do we have to lose? And I just think we have to be more creative and daring, because theater now, as we know it, might change. I don't know what that looks like, to be quite honest, in these next couple of years. Will it ever get back to what it was? I don't know. So that's been fun to see how we can change that in this new environment.
Now, you're a proud Atlanta girl. I want to talk to you a little bit about your childhood. I know you lost your dad recently, Joaquin. Were you actually named after him?
They fully thought I was going to be a boy, and then I came out girls later, Joaquina.
So your parents came from Angola, right?
Right. So my parents were political refugees, and they came to this country in the 80s. And then I was born. Well, my brothers and sisters were born, I always say, along the continent going down before they got to America. And then I came 8 years after everybody when they got here.
Oh, so you have a bunch of older siblings.
I do. I have 2 brothers and 1 sister.
I saw your sister's fashion online.
Oh, yes. She designed my Tony dress. She designed my slave play opening night outfit dresses.
Oh, well, I love that outfit. So you're in good hands.
So you don't have to worry about... You're like, I know. So
So
you came much later. Were you like a surprise?
Was it like,
I was an oops baby. Completely unplanned. Very much an oops baby. And then I always say, my brothers always tell me, like, they never wanted me before, because they were like, oh, great, now we're going to have to babysit. Because they were full of, like, teenagers at this point. And then of the childhood videos I have are my brothers sucking on my face while I'm like in the little swing set, and they're just like chewing on my cheek. So I was just surrounded by love. It was an amazing childhood.
When you come later like that, sometimes for parents, it's like a second round. It's like you're a miracle baby.
It totally is. I give them so much credit, because the trauma that they brought with them, escaping from a civil war into this country and having to raise kids in a whole new land without family or anything is amazing. I've recently found like my uncles and my grandmother on Facebook one day, because I randomly put in the name, and that's how we were kind of able to connect everyone these past years, because they believed that my parents were dead this whole time. And so it just reconnecting in that way has been amazing. And I give them so much credit, because they allowed me the freedom to fully explore. I think by then they were just like, oh, she's here, we're just gonna let her be free. Whereas like my brothers and sister, they probably got a different childhood than me. That was a lot more restrictive. But for me, I was like, I want to do band. I want to be on drill team captain. I just want to do crazy things, So
they were definitely about letting you find your joy, following your passion.
They were, but I mean, acting took a long time, I think, for them to come around to it. It had to take me getting scholarships, like full tuitions and full scholarships to go to school, and be like, oh yeah, we support her. I mean, even recently, my mom was like, you sure you don't want to get a degree? You sure you don't want to go be a teacher? Just a backup plan. I'm like, no, mother, I'm a Tony nominee now.
No, Mom, if you're watching this, she needs to keep doing this. So you actually got to, you took some time off when your dad got sick, right?
I did. So I got to spend the last 2 years fully at home with my father.
What was it like spending that time with him and saying goodbye to him? And how have you moved on past that?
Oh, gosh. It was terrifying. I think for me, because I am a daddy's girl all day. We're born in the same month. Like, we're 2 peas in a pod. So, and seeing your father is your first hero, right? This man of steel that nothing can touch. And to see him in that state, I saw his spirit diminish. I saw, this man try to fight to stay alive. And it hurt my heart to see him suffer like that. Cancer is a very ugly thing. I don't wish it on anyone. But I was very grateful to spend those last moments. But it's hard. It's hard to say that it was joyful because some moments were hard, and my dad is proud and a strong African man. So like, okay, you need to eat this soup. And he's like, no, I don't want to eat soup. I can kind of laugh at these moments now, but it's like, it's that of a man trying to hold on to who he is, right? As a man and not feel like he's a burden. And we're like, you're not a burden. You're my father and I love you. So it was hard. But I was so grateful, and I cannot imagine what it would have been like to lose my father in this environment, with the pandemic happening, and not to be able to say goodbye in person, to not to be able to for him to be at home with us. That would be heartbreaking, and I feel for so many families who had to endure that.
And how's your mom doing? I know you've got to spend some time with her down in Atlanta.
Oh yeah, I fully moved back. I moved back when I was before slave play and everything. I was like Atlanta's home base. So my mom is doing better. I think my child gives her a lot of light and joy and energy. So that keeps her focused in a different way. But I think we're all just trying to figure out whatever this new life is, because my dad was a part of my life for 30 years. I don't know what that looks like in this 1 year, all of those feelings are still very much present. So
What's your son's name?
His name is Pharaoh.
Oh, I love that. And how's he doing?
Oh my gosh, he's amazing. I love him. He's full of energy and opinions. He's so smart and so cute. I love him.
I remember when you were pregnant while you were doing The Color Purple, although we didn't know. That was Nettie's secret.
Until it was not.
Until she had to deal with it.
Until she's fully 8 months pregnant.
It's fantastic that you're getting to do so much screen work, in One Night in Miami, directed by Regina King. And also, I loved you in Lovecraft Country. Oh my God, that show was intense and crazy and genre defying. You were like a antebellum ghost lady, and there were a lot of special effects happening around you. What was it like to film that?
Oh my God, it was insane. I mean, because of course a lot of my scenes are like me running through fire. And then there's no fire on set, right? I mean, there are like these like LED lights that are blinking that you have to pretend is fire. So that was my first time doing something like that. And it reminded me a lot of the first year of Juilliard. Like, imagine there's a cup and you're drinking out of this cup. So you have to imagine there's a fire and it's surrounding you. It was amazing. I mean, the sets that they built, it was crazy.
What was little Joaquina like, and when did you discover theater?
Oh, geez. Well, Joaquina was a hot mess. Joaquina used to pretend to be Xena Warrior Princess.
That's a good one.
Teddy bears. Yeah. That was a full-on thing. And I create like tents and all this kind of stuff and fully acted out in my room.
Was there like a Gabriella teddy bear?
Oh, yes. Are you kidding?
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Just making
And then I would literally kill the people I had a yo-yo, so I just like...
Wait a minute. Do that Xena war cry again. You give me a little bit more.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. It's so embarrassing. It was horrible. I remember my mom telling me things like I would sing country music songs in the back of her car. And I'd be like, turn it up, mommy. But I never... I didn't really get into the arts until like high school. And it was honestly after the most horrific talent show my 8th grade year, because I sang, what was it? It's a Monica song. I Will Cross the Ocean for You, or whatever that song is. I Will Bring You the Moon. And I had like a Christianing, like baptism white dress. It just doing the most, and all white decked out. but I did not sing to an instrumental or karaoke version. I sang like to the actual Monica song, her
You
singing.
just sang over her.
Horrible. Nobody told me that I needed an instrumental. And so from that point, my counselor was like, "You should audition for Tracy." And I'm like, maybe she just thought I was joking. It was like a comedian, but I was dead serious. And so I got like a monologue off the internet, not from any specific play, but just like a random monologue. And I ended up singing um, the Star Spangled Banner and got into this crazy performing arts school. And I, they're the reason I'm here at this moment, because I did the amount of shows that I got to experience at that school. I mean, from Pearly to Raisin to Flying West. My first show was Serafina, where
Ooh,
we had to do
I love Serafina.
the part. Yes, that was my first show, my first musical
Oh,
at
wow.
that school, and so the foundation that I got, one of just particularly playing people from my community and being able to share that with my community, because it was a predominantly Black school, was amazing. It was an amazing foundation to have. So I always take that with me. But yeah, it was great.
You actually had a robust Black theater community around you down in Atlanta from early on. How did you first meet the great Kenny Leon?
So I auditioned for The Wiz at his theater company, True Colors. Um,
Right.
and I guess they were doing it like every summer. And I auditioned to play Ada Pearl in The Wiz. And so he gave me the part.
I love that you played Ada Pearl at that age. That says a lot about you because she's always a lot.
You know what? I didn't even know how crazy Kenny let me do whatever I wanted to do. I got to be the quirkiest. I think I had like different cheetah prints, different colors and fringes, and just like improvising magic tricks every night. It was incredible. Like that amount of freedom, and also terrifying to be like, yeah, do whatever you want. So you're like, okay.
You started working right out of school, and you've done amazing things. You've had a career that a lot of actors would be really envious of, but you've also been able to make time for your personal life, becoming a mother, getting to spend that time with your dad recently. How do you look back on the journey to get to this amazing point right now?
I'm always one that's like family first above anything. So anything that takes me away from my family too long, I can never not do that, because that's the foundation, right? That's what keeps us human, authentic, all of that. So in terms of this career, I'm blessed, right? I fully acknowledge the way that I came out of school and what I was able to do in those years is incredible, and I'm so thankful for those opportunities. It was hard though, I think, for a while, because the culture was different, right? So there weren't as many opportunities to have really in-depth conversations about character, and to feel like, as a young person, to feel like I had agency in saying what I needed or what my character needed in terms of this. So there were moments that I look back on where I wish I had the vocabulary, the knowledge, the wherewithal, the guts to speak up for myself in instances and speak up for my character. But other than that, quite honestly, it's been a wild, crazy ride, and one that I am incredibly grateful for. And it also took a long time, right? So I'm happy for that. I'm happy it wasn't overnight. I'm happy that I consistently was able to take care of myself, in the sense that I didn't have to have an outside job for a very long time. And the one time I did was when I moved back to Atlanta in 2018. And people don't know this, but I was an Uber driver.
You were?
Yes, because the work wasn't consistent and I was in Atlanta. And so I did that and got to spend time with my family. I was still working, and it's always important to, and in that time I was still studying. I was still taking master classes and you know what I mean, and reading and trying to work on my technique and really, really delve into this thing. So I'm excited, because I feel like now I'm ready in a sense, to be able to handle whatever this next journey is for me, because of the experiences I've had, because it took a long time for me to get to this moment where I can celebrate this moment with my family. Because there were times where it was rough, like I said, and everybody was like, "You sure you don't want to get this other degree?" You know what I mean? It happens, but you got to push through. You got to push through and believe in yourself. And so I'm so incredibly grateful and really excited about also the other artists that are coming up and the writers that are coming up and just what's ahead for us in terms of theater in this community. I'm excited to see what happens.
I'm excited for you to be at the forefront of it. But I need to hear more about your Uber driver experiences. Any crazy stories? What should we know as passengers? Anything we should do that we're not doing or not do that we're doing?
Okay. Ooh. So.
Go ahead. Go on.
Okay, maybe do not. Maybe if you haven't thrown up before. Before you call it Uber, don't call it Uber then.
You had people actually vomit in your car?
Fully vomit. And that's when I switched to only doing Uber delivery and not picking up.
You're like, I could...
Made that very clear.
You were like, I could stand the smell of your food, but not the smell of that.
I get it.
But then you hear crazy stories, because like when I was doing Uber, when I was doing deliveries, I would go pick up somebody's order, and people, like the owners of the establishments, would have to say, well, we have to check you out and make sure you're you, because there have been reports that people have been eating people's food, and I'm just like, what? Wait, what? Like people's whole crab legs would be gone and they just leave rice, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's so beware, people, beware.
So if your sister's designing some fashion for, let's say it's a virtual Tony Awards, does that mean it's like only from the waist up? It's like sweats below, glamour up top?
Oh, full outfit. I've determined that my whole family is going to be fully dressed, gala dressed. Okay. I said, I'm going to buy a red carpet and I'm going to put something outside. We all going to take pictures.
Yes.
It's going to be a party, because I'm like, this moment only happens once, right? Your first time being nominated, it only happens once. And so even in this, I want to fully enjoy it and as much as I can and dress up, because Lord knows it's been a long time since I've worn heels or some hair on top of it's so much. So I've just been really looking bummy these past months. So I'm definitely like, let's go all out.
First Tony Awards in Atlanta, Georgia.
Hey.
Why not?
I can't wait to see it. Joaquina, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so thrilled for you. I can't wait to see your at-home red carpet and to see you on the Tony Awards.
Oh, thank you so much again, Paul. Thank you for having me.
I hope to see you in person someday soon.
I hope so too. Oh, I hope so.
See you soon.